we will be reacting to what if there was a continent in the Pacific Ocean. This probably would be very bad if it just happened out of nowhere right now. All the coast would go away because of the displaced water. So let's just watch it. Let's see what this guy comes up with.
The Pacific Ocean. It takes up 30% of the surface of the globe, and when looking at it from space, it's so large that from certain angles, it's the only thing to view. There are islands in the South Pacific which are just thousands of miles away from any other landmass. And you know what? In my opinion, this is just wasted space. There's only so much room on Earth. Cities are overcrowded, and then there's this large portion of blankness. Who can live here? Fish? They got nothing going on. So here's an idea. What if in an alternate timeline, there was a landmass?
Hey, don't forget about Hawaii. Hawaii is actually kind of big.
Right here.
Cody, please tell me you're not going to use some crackpot theory from a pseudo-archaeologist to base this whole scenario off of.
This is the continent of Mu.
Oh, God.
It was imagined by a 19th century archaeologist named Augustus Le Plongeon, and later drawn on a map by fellow Mu enthusiast James Churchward. Both of these guys and a few others really believed that the continent of Mu was once a real lost landmass. So, trust me, we're gonna get to the scenario, but I really want to talk about this first. Augustus Le Plongeon had dedicated himself to studying...
This is, pretty interesting, because, we normally just think of the Pacific Ocean to just be, like, nothingness. Like, yeah, the only thing really there's maybe parts of New Zealand, some islands, and then Alaska.
The pre-Columbian ruins of the Maya and piecing together the puzzle pieces of the past. And as was par for the course for most archaeology of the 1800s, he was just straight up wrong. You see, Plongeon was a big fan of the Freemasons, and it seems like the appeal of his secret fan club sometimes got in the way of, archaeology. He started seeing Mason symbols everywhere in Mayan ruins, started theorizing about how certain dots in human history were really connected. Plongeon theorized that Mayan civilization was the first civilization in human history. All others had originated from it. Now, how did the ancestors of the Greeks, Egyptians, and basically any old world civilization get out of the Americas? By crossing from Atlantis, of course. This was the most tame part of the theory. You see, Plongeon deciphered Mayan script, or so he thought, to conclude that this ancient society had a global telegraphic network that connected it to every other civilization on Earth. The Mayans were also masters of the mystic and psychic.
Okay, this seems a little weird, because why would someone think there was just a big continent there? Because there's no really support to back it up, so I don't really get where this guy got the idea of an 8th continent in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Like, the video I covered on Zealandia a couple days ago actually made sense, because if you looked at a topographic map of underwater things, yeah, it actually makes sense that there would be an 8th continent. But for this, if you were to look at a topographic map, you can see only like kind of the tectonic plates where Alaska's islands take place and then kind of Hawaii rides along. So I don't really get where this philosopher got it, because this was even, I think, before topographic maps even existed. So, for an archaeologist, you have to be pretty smart to be one, so this doesn't sound that smart of him.
Arts. For this new, bold discovery, Plongeon and his wife were deemed pioneers of metaphysical archaeology by the Russian mystic Madame Blavatsky. Yes, there was the psychic babushka that had a cult-like following in the late 19th century. That's a whole other story. Plongeon, taking this were deemed pioneers of metaphysical archaeology by the Russian mystic Madame Blavatsky. Yes, there was the psychic babushka.
That symbol looks kind of sus.
that had a cult-like following in the late 19th century. That's a whole other story. Plongeon, taking this blessing in stride, continued his research, which had largely been dismissed by actual archaeologists. After years of research, Plongeon finally came up with his master theory. 1. Some of the images on the wall looked like him. 2. The Mayans were descended from a lost and great civilization that once existed on the South American coast. This global...
Alright. But if it really existed on the South American coast, then why would there be no, like, kind of ruins or mountain ranges that are on the South American coast? Yeah, there are some, but not as many to be a kind of a full civilization. Maybe like a city or two, but there's not enough stuff to be like a full civilization, so it's just completely off. And another thing is, if there was another continent, again, I already said this, but wouldn't there be more islands for like more mountain ranges? Unless the entire continent was a plateau, which is very unlikely. And if it was real, then there should be millions of little islands in the Pacific, but there's only like a couple hundred.
Empire was ruled by the great Queen Mu. Queen Mu had secret and arcane knowledge of Freemasonry that she passed on to ancient Egypt. Plongeon concluded that when Queen Mu died, her civilization split off from the Americas, literally, and then I guess the whole continent of Mu just sank into the ocean. The only evidence of its existence being scattered in Mayan ruins and maybe Polynesians, who knows. None of that really matters because the main point Plongeon really wanted to hit home is that Queen Mu has been reincarnated like thousands of times until finally winding up as his underage wife. After Plongeon's death, his idea of Mu was carried on by certain pseudoscience enthusiasts, including James Churchward. Churchward built upon this whole Mu idea, drawing what the continent supposedly looked like, basically by connecting the dots of various Polynesian islands. Hey, that looks good. Churchward proposed that Mu was actually the origin of humanity and the Garden of Eden, home to a lost race called the Nazcals. The Nazcals colonized the entire world, and everything is basically the remnants of their fallen society. And there you go. That's why this landmass is shaped like that and called Mu. If you hadn't gotten the hint by now, the continent of Mu is not a scientific theory. It was pretty much the accidental byproduct of a pseudoscientific Mu. If you hadn't gotten the hint by now, the continent of Mu is...
Yeah, like they got Tasmania, right? Why is it so... Oh no! They did Indonesia dirty! Oh no! All the countries down there like Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam. Oh no, they screwed it up. Ah, the Americas! Oh my god. It's just like a straight line. It's like maybe slightly curved. Oh no, it's terrible. How do you map this wrong? It's worse. It's worse than I ever thought someone could do. Oh, what's this? Bro, what happened here? What did they do to Cuba? Tell me, what did you do to Florida? No! No, they did this map dirty. No! Oh, this is just too bad.
Not a scientific theory. It was pretty much the accidental byproduct of a pseudoscientific madman who imagined his creepily younger wife was the reincarnation of a mythical god queen. Even at the time, this was seen as an outlandish idea. Even if the theory of plate tectonics and knowledge of the ocean's crust weren't common knowledge at the time, you didn't need to be a scientist to think this was batshit stupid. Today, Mu largely exists as a meme or as a basis for science fiction stories. It's an Atlantis without using Atlantis. And I guess it's being used by me today, because despite the fact this continent...
Gotta look for any errors. So that's where the seashells would be, so that's there. I have to look for any imperfections. Just any imperfections. imperfections I will criticize this guy so hard on. The shape of Cyprus, it looks a little bit off. Haha, I get to roast you because you did bad.
Never existed, nor ever had a decent reason for being imagined. It would be pretty neat if it did exist, right? What if this continent of Mu actually did exist? There is no ancient civilization or Nazcals or any of that other stuff, but it's just another landmass. The Earth simply had another piece of crust that existed above the water. Oh god, plate tectonics. First issue, the shape. This is just a big Papua New Guinea. There's no getting around that. There is a great group called AML Official who specify in imagining realistic continents that follow plate tectonics. I, however, didn't want to simply copy their homework. When I think of Mu, I have been accustomed to this shape, as flawed as it is. Let's ignore plate tectonics. Think of this like we just took the ocean crust floor and raised it up. That's not how a continental crust works, but it's a better basis than just straight up putting mountains wherever. When it comes to imagining such fantastical scenarios like this, at some points, I really do just have to fill in the blanks. I mean, all of these videos at the end of the day are fiction.
Who would colonize it? Who would, colonize it? Who would, I don't know. He never covered water level changes, though. So, yeah. Like and subscribe for part 2, I guess. Bye.